Game 69, the nicest game of the season, and it did in fact go quite nicely for the Avs. Avs win over the Buffalo Sabres 3-0.
Oh! Como has a breakaway.
Full credit to the Avs, and they did look great in this game, but man, Buffalo looked bad. Through the first two periods, they had just 7 shots on goal total, and halfway through the third, they still only had 9. They did end up with 18, but almost half of them came when they had the empty net at the end of the game. It was not good. Pretty much anyone could have beat them here. With that said, the Avs didn't really give them that many opportunities either. They were much better about the puck than they have been in a good long while, especially in the defensive end. When they got control of the puck, they kept it. None of these turnovers trying to clear it out. The first period was actually fairly standard Avs fare. Yes, they controlled play even more than they normally do, and they looked like they were clearly the better team, but they just could not finish. Stop me if you've heard it before. Possession is great. Obviously, you want as much of it as you possibly can, but again, nothing to show for it, and it doesn't really matter if you had the puck or not, does it? Zadorov was also back in this game, which was nice to see. With Landy out for the season, the Avs desperately needed some kind of a boon. And he did absolutely crush Jack Eichel with a hit in the first. The hit itself was clean, but then he kind of stuck out his hand and grabbed Eichel by the head, so he ended up getting a 2-minute roughing minor. I didn't have any problem with the call. It was just a funny situation. We'll come back to that. The hit from Zadorov was clean. Remember that part. Avs would have their standard failed power play later in the first as well, and as I said, nothing after 1. I don't know if it was just because Buffalo was struggling so badly in this one, but the Avs usually struggle to carry momentum over through intermission, but this time they absolutely did. They outshot Buffalo 12-4 in the first, and they did even better than that in the second. And guess what? When you can keep that pressure up, you get a goal eventually, and that's what happens early in the second. This puck is going to come to EJ, and EJ is going to make a pretty poor outlet pass here to Andrighetto, who's streaking across. It just doesn't connect. Andrighetto gets a piece of it, but it ends up on a Sabres stick at their blue line. But the thing is, this is Bork and Andrighetto, so you're not expecting a ton out of them, but they're double shifting McKinnon on this line right here. And he's going to be given a gift of a puck right here. He does get knocked down, but he's still Nathan McKinnon. So not only does he continue stick handling the puck, he keeps it, gets back to his feet, absolutely dangles the pants off of a guy, gets to the circles, and then fires a 95-mile-an-hour shot to the top corner. Because he can. McKinnon's 35th goal of the season. If anyone tells you McKinnon is not a top 10 player in the NHL, they're just flat out wrong. I mean, he could legitimately be top 5. After the goal, though, it was kind of back to status quo. You never felt in danger as the Avs. Buffalo couldn't muster anything even close to resembling offense, but all of the Avs' hard work and puck possession was leading to chances that just weren't getting finished. And I mean, credit to Carter Hutton. The guy made 40 saves and basically didn't have a team playing in front of him, so he was a big part of the reason why. Then later in the second period, the Avs shoot a puck out to the neutral zone, and Soderberg is stretching out trying to reach it along the boards as Jack Eichel is coming in. Eichel goes for the hit, but he mistimes it pretty poorly, is ahead of Soderberg, and just clips his shoulder right through Soderberg's jaw coming across. Thankfully, Soderberg was okay. The Avs could not afford another injury to anyone at this point, and Eichel did end up getting dinged a 2-game suspension for the hit to the head. This one's real cut and dry for me. You can see Soderberg reaching here and Eichel going in committing to the hit. That's just terribly timed as Eichel makes contact. Initial and primary point of contact is clearly with Soderberg's head. Soderberg goes down in a heap. So I have no problem with this one getting suspended and Zadorov's not getting suspended because this one was a hit to the head and Zadorov's primary point of contact on Eichel was the shoulder or chest. And at the end of the second, the shots were 26-7 in the Avs' favor, but they only had a 1-0 lead. Still, Other than not having another goal, you're happy with everything so far in this game. You can pretty much copy-paste what I've said about the first and second for the third period as well. Up until the last 5 minutes, it was the same domination by the Avs. The chippiness levels were up a bit in the third, likely stemming from the hits earlier in the game, but ultimately that ended up benefiting the Avs. There was a scary moment where Mikko Rantanen was tracking a puck up in the air and going to play it when he took an elbow to the head. It looked pretty gnarly, and he did end up going back down the tunnel, likely for concussion protocol, but he returned quickly and was just fine. After some scrums near the middle of the period, we play some 4-on-4, and Nathan MacKinnon ends up drawing a penalty, so we actually get to see some 4-on-3. We've seen the issues the Avs have had at 5-on-4, but with all the extra space, when the power play is missing a guy and the defense is missing two, well, that's a different story. We're still going to see a lot of stagnation and just throwing the puck around the perimeter, which is pretty blah, but the difference is, look at how deep Tyson Barrie ends up getting into the zone here. I know it's tough to get that deep when there's an extra fourth defender out, but you have to at least try. This is what makes a huge difference. Everything creeping in, you're going to increase the percentages on your shots from here. Barrie makes a nice fake here before feeding the puck back to Rantanen, and then Rantanen just does Rantanen things. When people give him the space in this far circle, he takes it, he holds, he looks, and then he just fires it, because it goes in when he does that. Rantanen's 30th of the season, and that is a big goal. Even though Landeskog is now injured, he already crossed the 30-goal mark, so the Avs reach 3 30-goal scorers, and that's a huge deal. Only the second time this franchise, well, as the Avalanche, have ever done that. And I've got a feeling Landeskog, MacKinnon, and Rantanen, this may not be the last time those three do it. So with that one, you can kind of breathe a sigh of relief. You weren't too worried about Buffalo since they only had 9 shots at that point, but getting the 2-goal lead, you knew the Avs pretty much had this one. Once we get down to goalie pull time, Grubauer does do a good job in the one real flurry of the game that he faced. And obviously this ended up being a real easy shutout for Grubauer to get, but he did look good in this game. To the eye test, to me, he looked much better, looked more comfortable, and he has for the past 3 or so games, so it's nice to see him finally starting to adjust by the looks of it. His play continuing to move in the right direction may be one of the most important things for the Avalanche next season, so let's get on that. And just for kicks, into the empty net, it's Gabe Bourque scoring his first goal of the season in Game 69. Nice. The Avs win, and they still sit just 2 points behind Minnesota for that last wildcard spot. There are the Coyotes sitting in between. They're only 1 point behind Minnesota, and they have a game in hand, so that could be an issue, but the Avs aren't totally out of it. It's going to be tough. We only play Minnesota one more time this season, and Minnesota currently holds the tiebreaker with more rows, so really, the Avs do need a little bit of help to get into the playoffs here, but it's still very, very possible. I wouldn't go getting my hopes up just yet, but you can't completely write it off either. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching, and as always, a special thank you to all of my contributors on both PayPal and Patreon. I appreciate all of you guys so very much. If you want to become a contributor, there are links down in the description to do so. I'm Rudo3, and I'm going to try my best to get these videos out a little bit quicker for the rest of the season.